How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the rapper known as A$AP Rocky, who is currently in a Swedish jail due to a street fight that happened in Stockholm, Sweden. Now, the reason why I'm covering this topic today is because this has become an international incident. A$AP Rocky is an American from New York. He was in a street fight, and there's a weird kind of circumstance to it we'll get to in a moment. The State Department is now involved. Mike Pompeo has been briefed. There is a statement from the State Department. I'll place that in the description box below. They basically said, we want A$AP Rocky to be treated fairly. There's some weird things in the case, and we want to see A$AP and his colleagues get back on tour and back reunited with his friends and family. Now, let's back up a little bit here to explain what this fight was all about, how did it happen, and who is involved, which is very, very important, and it underlines what's going on here in a nutshell. Now, A$AP Rocky and a few of his friends are walking around Stockholm just in the street. They had a bodyguard with them, real big guy. They just walking around hanging out. They were there in Stockholm for the Smash Festival. It's a music festival. So I guess they were going to perform or whatever. I'm not really sure why they were walking around in Sweden just, hanging out, but it's what they were doing. It appears to be like morning or afternoon. It's not nighttime at all. It's not dark outside. It's like broad daylight. So they're walking around. All of a sudden, you got these two guys that are following them the whole time. And there's video of this, and I'll place it on the screen. The guys are following them, and the security guard is saying, hey, you guys got to back off. Don't follow us. Stop following us. They're speaking English, but it's kind of broken. And I'll get to that in a moment. But all throughout the video, they're following them. They're not letting them just get any kind of air. At a certain point, one of the guys takes his headphones off his head and smacks the security guard in the head with it. And even still, the guy's not really trying to smash this dude because he can do that. This is a real big dude, and the guy's really small. Him and his friend are also very small. He does not want to have to hurt these guys. Okay, and he's telling them this over and over again. A$AP Rocky gets on the camera. This is an Instagram video. I'll place that in the box below. He's saying, hey, we don't want any problems.
Why you? Man, I want
hey,
my headphone.
Stop.
Why stop? He fucked with my headphone.
You following us? Go that way. Oh, let's go this way. This is your area. Go that way. We going this way. Yo, stop following me, man.
Some way, go that way, bro, before you get hurt. We don't want to hurt y'all. Go that way, bro.
De är här vi skadar er, okej?
For real, look.
Men vad ska jag göra?
Go that way, bro. Go that way, bro.
Han är polis.
Jag vet inte vem hon är.
Okay, if we can we tell them who you guys are so they can
No, don't tell them nothing.
Tell them nothing. They don't need us.
These guys are just following us, and we're trying to get away. So they keep following them to the point where the guys end up getting beat up. At least one of them gets beat up by A$AP Rocky and the crew. Okay. I don't think the security guard was involved with the beating up. I think it was just A$AP and then like two of the other guys that were with him. For that, he is in jail right now and could be facing 6 years in the penitentiary in Sweden. He is in bad conditions. He's next to a guy that has mental problems. He's throwing feces on the wall, smearing all over the place. And he says the food is bad, so he can only eat like one apple a day, or he had been doing that for like the first 5 days of his incarceration in the jail. He also has no real bed. He's on a yoga mat. So he's in bad conditions. They've described the prison, or the jail, pardon me, as disease-ridden. So it's not a good situation. I've got to address the elephant in the room right quick, which are A$AP Rocky's statements about Black Lives Matter he made back in 2016. He basically said, look, it shouldn't only matter when a black person gets shot and killed by police. It should matter when a black person gets shot and killed by a black person. All lives matter. When he said that, the black Twitter sphere, the liberal Twitter sphere went into a frenzy. Now, fast forward to 2019 with the whole Sweden kerfuffle, those same folks back then are coming back and saying, ha, 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 that's what you get. You want to criticize Black Lives Matter. Now you need them. Obviously, this ain't the same situation. You're talking about self-defense in a foreign country, an international incident, not when people just want to screech and cry about when a police officer may or may not be in the wrong. But I digress. This was not his fault. He was trying to walk away. There's video evidence of it. he was being harassed by these people. Now, who were these guys that were harassing them? I can't really tell. But one thing I do know is that these are not Swedish people. I know what a Swede looks like. You're talking about blonde hair, blue eyes, 6 foot tall. That's usually what you have right here. These guys are obviously North African or from the Middle East. And that, my friends, is the problem. The refugee crisis has now sparked an international incident. Maybe now it'll get taken a little bit more seriously by the Swedes themselves and by the international community. This has been the problem right now in Sweden for a long time. I've done videos covering this at music festivals. You got guys, raping girls, raping boys, underage, all kind of things happening. I think I saw a stat, and I'll place it on the screen before you, that says 58% of the rapes in Sweden are done by foreign nationals, mostly Arab war-age men from North Africa and the Middle East. That's what's going on here. These guys are clearly from one of those places, and that is why they were harassing ASAP. The issue is they're coming from third world countries. They're uneducated. They don't understand Western culture. So they pretty much just behave the same way they behaved in their country of origin, which is why it is a third world country. Third world countries are that way because of the people that reside in it. It's very simple. Now, if you ask the question, why do you have North African Arabs in Stockholm, Sweden? Isn't that kind of far from where they originate from? You may have guys from Syria, Morocco, Iraq, etc. Well, I'm glad you asked that question. The reason why they're there is because Sweden has basically become a sanctuary country, essentially. Okay, you can be there as a quote unquote refugee, take advantage of their generous welfare system. You can get housing, you can get all kind of stuff. Okay, that's why they're going to pass other European countries to come all the way up north to Sweden when they originated from somewhere thousands of miles away. Okay, that's the reason why they are in Sweden. They're also in Germany and UK and France. And you see the results. You have no-go zones. If you are a Jewish person, if you are not Muslim, if you are not part of the community, you can't go there. That's happening right now in Sweden. Now, some would say ASAP shouldn't have been walking around in Sweden like it was all good, like nothing was going to happen, this, that, and the third. I could understand that point to a certain extent, but how would he know there's a quote unquote refugee crisis happening right now all over the country? There's been no real alerts from the mainstream media. I mean, how would he know? He may think it's like going to Amsterdam or maybe even London or somewhere like that. No, You have places you can't really just walk around like it's okay. I don't think ASAP will be walking around Syria like that, or Iraq, because that you are not in the first world country. You don't have the same ability to just, walk around and feel kind of safe. ASAP Rocky was put into a false sense of security by being in Sweden. You're thinking it's a first world country, can that happen? Well, something did happen, unfortunately. This has been par for the course for a very long time in Sweden. He may have gone there some years ago. He's been around for a long time, probably like 10 years or a little bit less. He's not a new artist. So he may have gone to Sweden before, and it wasn't like that. He didn't get approached like that. So he said, okay, I can just go to Sweden with my one guard. We can walk around and there's no problem. But obviously that wasn't the case. Now, I don't know if the people that were following them, stalking them, provoking them are in jail, or if it's just ASAP Rocky and or his entourage. Okay. If the migrants, quote unquote migrants, are not in jail, I wouldn't be surprised at all. That'd be normal. That'd just be par for the course, because Sweden kind of wants to hide that. They want to allow them to come in, but if you speak out against it, you may be in trouble. I think I saw somewhere, it may have been Sweden or Norway or somewhere, if you point out the problem with the migration crisis, you're called an Uncle Tom. Like, seriously, in those words, they'll say Uncle Tom. This is how far the leftist, crazy U.S. culture has reached. We're all the way in the great white north of Sweden. Uncle Tom, really? Is that what we're going to say? This is absurd. But Sweden may be lost, unfortunately. I know some Swedes. Shout out to you guys. You guys are great. But it may be lost. The only thing that can fix it is the reversal of the immigration policy. Okay, maybe leaving the European Union and stuff like that. Poland has done a great job of warding off this crisis, and it's not that far from Sweden. Okay, it's right there. It's a neighbor of Germany. Germany's pretty much been overrun, not Poland, not Hungary, not the Eastern European places. You're not going to see a bunch of migrants running around Russia or Lithuania or Latvia or Estonia or Belarus, Ukraine. You're not going to see them there. You'll see them in the Western places that have the generous welfare system. Okay, you won't even see them in Bulgaria or Greece. Well, Greece a little bit, but that's a different story, and I digress. The point is that certain places you have a very generous welfare system, which is the reason why you are now overrun with these so-called refugees. As I close, I want to say this. Hopefully, A$AP Rocky gets released from jail in Sweden and is allowed to go back on tour and can put this incident in Stockholm behind him. Maybe Trump will go to Sweden and get him out the same way he did with LiAngelo Ball and the UCLA boys in China. Who knows? But whatever the case may be, it has now been seen by the State Department of the U.S. Mike Pompeo has been told about it. A statement has been put out. So now you have pressure on Sweden to do something. If they don't do something, this could escalate and it might get a little ugly. It won't be any kind of war, obviously, with Sweden. That'd be ridiculous. But it may get ugly as far as how Sweden is seen in the eyes of the international community. Okay. You got American citizens. You can't even be safe just walking around. Celebrities, guys that got a big following, not a very good look. So I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that A$AP Rocky should have been put into the Swedish jail? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or is it very unjust? You're talking about self-defense. There's video evidence to prove it. You're walking around Sweden, not doing anything to anyone, just, walking around, sightseeing. These guys are following you. What do? You're telling them, hey, please stop following us, stop following us, stop following us until somebody gets beat down. If you're talking about the president or somebody like that, an elected official, you probably couldn't even get that close. All right. And I think going forward into the future, people have to understand in these migrant areas, you can't just walk around like the way you want to walk around. You must now treat Sweden, Stockholm, Malmö as third world places, not first world places. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.